dietetic student at the University of Missouri. Today, we're going to be exploring the frozen dinner aisle at the grocery store, and I'm going to teach you how to make healthy choices in this aisle. Let's take a look. Frozen dinners are a super efficient and usually budget-friendly way to eat. However, some frozen dinners are healthier than others. Today, I'm going to be giving you 3 tips to choose healthy frozen dinners. 1, try to choose dinners that incorporate multiple food groups. 2, try to limit the sodium content. And 3, try to limit the saturated fat content. My first tip for choosing healthy frozen meals is to choose ones that contain several different food groups, like this one. This sheet pan meal has a protein source and plenty of starchy and non-starchy vegetables. See this MyPlate graphic for reference. There are 5 main food groups that we should strive to get in a meal: fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. When searching for frozen meals, you should try to find one that incorporates at least 2 or 3 of these food groups, especially fruits and vegetables. For example, instead of choosing this mac and cheese or these chicken nuggets, try something like this healthy choice meal. You're getting some protein from the meatballs, some grains from the pasta, and some vegetables from the spinach and marinara sauce. Meals like these are nutritious and will usually keep you fuller for longer. My second tip for finding healthy frozen meals is to find ones that are low in sodium. For most frozen meals, you can find the sodium right here in the bottom corner of the box. You can also find sodium content right above total carbohydrates on the back in the nutrition facts label. It is important to limit sodium because too much sodium in the diet can increase the risk for high blood pressure. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends to limit sodium intake to less than 2,300 milligrams per day, and this is what the percent daily value on the Nutrition Facts panel refers to. However, the average American gets around 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day. Because frozen dinners are processed to have a longer shelf life, they typically are much higher in sodium compared to fresher foods, such as this frozen meal here. You can see it has 43% of the daily value of sodium. Always be observant of the sodium content in frozen meals, and instead, opt for meals with a lower sodium content, such as this meal here. My third tip for choosing healthy frozen meals is to choose ones that are low in saturated fat. Just like sodium, you can typically find the saturated fat in the bottom corner of the frozen meal box. On the Nutrition Facts panel, you can also find saturated fat right at the top below total fat. It is important to limit saturated fat intake because too much saturated fat in the diet can raise cholesterol levels and increase the risk for heart disease and stroke. Foods high in saturated fat include fried and buttery foods and high-fat meats such as sausage and bacon. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends to limit saturated fat intake to less than 10% of total calories per day. For the average person on a 2,000 calorie diet, this would mean limiting saturated fat to less than 22 grams per day. As you can see from this graphic from the DGA, about 73% of males and 70% of females in America exceed this limit for saturated fat. Now let's go back to the frozen dinner aisle. If you look at the bottom corner of this Salisbury steak meal, you can see it has 17 grams of saturated fat. This is about 83% of the daily value just in one meal. Instead, try a meal with lean meat, such as this shrimp fajita meal. It has 0 grams of saturated fat and looks absolutely delicious. Now let's do a price check. Many people just assume that healthier meals will cost more at the grocery store, but this isn't always the case. Spend some time comparing the price and the nutrition content of different frozen meals. Let's pull up the Stouffer's Ranch Fried Chicken. It costs $4.99. Looking at the nutrition facts panel, you'll see that this is not the healthiest meal. It has 7 grams of saturated fat and 1,300 milligrams of sodium. This barbecue burger with bacon costs the same price. It has 6 grams of saturated fat and 1,370 milligrams of sodium. On the other hand, this lean cuisine chicken Alfredo meal with broccoli is only $3.48. If you look at the nutrition label, it has only 2 grams of saturated fat and 800 milligrams of sodium. Now let's look at this chicken enchilada meal. It's the same price. If you look at the nutrition facts panel, it has only 2 grams of saturated fat and only 590 milligrams of sodium. Finally, to save time and money during your shopping trip, try to find frozen meals that are either on sale or in bulk. On average, single frozen meals cost between $3 and $4. However, these family-sized meals cost on average between $6 and $9 per bag and can feed a family of 4. Like I said before, try to buy meals that have multiple food groups, are low in sodium, and are lower in saturated fat. Bulk meals like these are great for a big family. All you gotta do is pop it in the oven and it saves time and money. Let's do a price check. Online at Hy-Vee, I'm typing in frozen sheet pan dinner and look at all these different options. Let's click on this one here. It's an Alfredo chicken dinner. This bird's eye family-sized dinner is a great one to heat up in a hurry. It contains protein, grains, vegetables, and even a little dairy from the cheese sauce. It's only $8.49. As you can see from the nutrition facts panel, it has 6 servings. This means it would only cost $1.42 per person. To conclude, today I gave you 3 tips on how to make healthy choices while shopping in the frozen meal aisle at the grocery store. My first tip for you was to always try to choose meals with many different food groups from my plate. These food groups include fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and dairy. My second tip for you is to be observant of the sodium content. Frozen meals in particular are known for being high in sodium. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends to consume less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. My third tip for you is to be observant of the saturated fat content. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends to consume less than 10% of total calories per day of saturated fat. For the average person, this means consuming less than 22 grams of saturated fat per day. This meatball marinara meal from Healthy Choice is a perfect example of a healthy frozen dinner. It has 3 different food groups: protein, grains, and vegetables. Also, it only has 21% of the daily value of sodium and only 2.5 grams of saturated fat. This nutritious meal only costs $3.18 from Hy-Vee and will keep you full for a long time. Finally, when considering time and budget, opt for healthy frozen meals that are on sale and/or in bulk.